Hello and welcome to our third training video designed to provide insight into the purpose, properties, uses, and equipment surrounding R1234YF. One common concern about R1234YF is its flammability, so throughout this video we will highlight safe industry standards and practices. Technical standards including refrigerant flammability are governed by ASHRAE, or the American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers. Specifically, ASHRAE Standard 34 assigns refrigerants a safety rating based on their flammability and toxicity. Low toxicity gases are assigned an A, while highly toxic gases are given a B. And non-flammable refrigerants are given a 1, with highly flammable refrigerants being assigned a 3. It is important to note that most refrigerants fall within the A1 to A2L range. Diving a little bit into the refrigerant chemistry, we can see how R1234YF's A2L mildly flammable rating is not cause for panic. For any refrigerant to ignite, its concentration must fall within its lower and upper flammability limits. The good news for 1234YF is that it has a high lower limit, meaning it requires more gas to ignite, and a narrow flammability range, which means it needs an exact concentration to ignite. 1234YF also has a high minimum ignition energy, so it takes a lot of heat to ignite. And finally, 1234YF has a low burning velocity, which means that its flames move very slowly if it were to ignite, and a low heat of combustion, which means that the gas does not release a lot of energy when it burns. The chart to the right also shows how common gases like gasoline and propane are much more flammable than R1234YF. Here we have one of my favorite charts that highlights YF safety by comparing it to other fluids in your car. Gasoline and diesel on the far left have notoriously high flame impacts, but what was surprising to me is how transmission fluid and power steering fluid have high flame impacts as well. Not only does 1234YF have a much lower flame impact than these other fluids, but the volume in your vehicle is much lower. Now we are presented with the all-important question: is R1234YF safe to use? The answer is yes. When used properly, 1234YF poses low health and safety risks. We have outlined a few safety precautions to keep in mind when working with R1234YF that include keeping the area well ventilated, clearing the area of any potential ignition sources, keeping a fire extinguisher on hand, and ensuring that shop personnel are certified and trained to service 1234YF systems. Comparing 134A and 1234YF side by side, we can see that 1234YF is the more flammable gas. Its chemical structure that provides so many positive environmental characteristics also results in mildly flammable properties. The clear differences in flammability between these two gases means that 1234YF is not a drop-in replacement for 134A and requires its own product-specific equipment to be used safely. So it's important to make sure and verify that you're using the correct refrigerant before servicing. That's all we have for you. Thank you for joining us for an introduction to 1234YF flammability. Next, we will highlight the differences between 134A and 1234YF parts and pieces.